Dude.
The WRESTLEDUDE.
The WRESTLEDUde.
Hello there, and welcome to the WRESTLEDUDE channel. As here today, this will be the NXT Takeover Brooklyn 4 review here on Talking Takeover, your non-stop shop for NXT Takeover reviews. This will be, as always, a review of all the matches that took place at NXT Takeover Brooklyn 4. I am your host and talker for this podcast and review, the WRESTLEDUDE Jacob, and we're going to get into the podcast today, or this review show today. But first, I want to thank you for joining me, and if at the end of this review you enjoyed it, please leave it a thumbs up. It does help. Also, you can follow me on social media using the links in the description, or if you are also a big fan of NXT and you would like to see the top 10 NXT TakeOver matches of 2017, you can find that by using the card in the corner of this video. Also, in a card of this video, I have left a poll for you to answer. Which did you like better from this weekend, NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 4 or SummerSlam 2018? I am doing this podcast after SummerSlam 2018. It is 5:30 right now, meaning Raw is going to be kicking off here in a couple hours, so I figured I'd take the time and do NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 4 after I've digested it and also had SummerSlam shoved down my throat. Takeover Brooklyn 4 was a better pill to swallow rather than the giant freaking vitamin that was SummerSlam. But we're not going to talk about SummerSlam. We're going to talk about NXT Takeover Brooklyn 4. I am actually redoing this podcast because the first time I filmed it, the audio completely messed up towards the end, so I had to redo it. But here's to hoping to this time. So, as you all may know, I'm a big fan of NXT. This is a big series that I love to do, and NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 4 I think might have been my favorite episode to review, so much so that I barely have any notes of it just because I was paying attention to so many of the matches, like, really closely. But I'll do my best to talk about them here as much in depth as I could. I went back and rewatched a lot of it just so I could try and get some more notes. So NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 4 started off with the Undisputed Era versus Mustache Mountain for the NXT Tag Team titles. Great match, great opener. Same thing as Undisputed Era versus Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch. It was a great opening match. I loved it. It was great. The right people won in the Undisputed Era, which the only prediction that I got wrong on this show was who was winning the main event. And there was one prediction in the main event that I did get correct, which I will talk about once we get to the main event. But there was a lot of great stuff in this tag team match. We had a double submission spot where Tyler Bate and Trent Seven were both in submission holds. Roderick Strong had the Walls of Jericho, or the Stronghold, locked on Trent Seven, and Tyler Bate was locked in a triangle choke, and he lifted up Kyle O'Reilly, who had him in the triangle choke, and launched him into Roderick Strong. It was great. We had the same towel spot between Tyler Bate and Trent Seven, except the roles were reversed, so Trent Seven grabbed the towel and he thought about throwing it in, but then he decided against it, and then Trent Seven tags in. He gets in the match. He's landing shots. He hits the Rainmaker, but he only gets a 2 count. They do their finishing maneuver, which is the knee drop and the burning hammer, only for a 2 count. We got Fight Forever chants, and then the end of the match comes when Trent Seven and Tyler Bate are trying to do another double team move where it's like a full Nelson suplex, and then Tyler Bate tries to do his like spring back forearm that he does on the ropes, except Roderick Strong jumps in with a flying knee out of nowhere and completely knocks Tyler Bate out of the ring, and then they take down Trent Seven using the bad knee, and they hit their high-low finisher, their trip-up and kick combination for the win. So Undisputed Era retained the tag team titles, and then after the match, the War Raiders attacked them from behind, which sets up their next feud, which I believe is probably going to go into War Games, since War Games is the next TakeOver event. So that'll be pretty cool. I have not seen a lot of War Machine's work on the independent scene, so it'll be interesting to see some of their work. But yeah, this was a great tag team match, great opener. I loved it. A lot of great stuff with it. I assumed that Mustache Mountain were going to win this because I figured that they would be one of the teams in the NXT UK brand, so it doesn't hurt them to lose here just because they lost in such surprising way. It wasn't really definitive. It just came out of nowhere. They fought their hardest, and I think both teams did a great job. After that, though, we had EC3 versus the Velveteen Dream. Let's talk about Velveteen Dream's entrance gear here. So Dream comes up. He rises out of the stage, which I think is a really good piece of storytelling when you're talking about his trunks. So he rises out of the stage, and then he reveals his trunks say, "Call me up, Vince," which I thought was pretty good. And apparently, reading some early reports here, apparently Vince McMahon did not like this. He was kind of mad about this. There was a joke that Triple H made. It was like, oh, that's just because Velveteen Dream has a friend named Vince who lost his phone, so he's telling him to call him, which actually doesn't really make sense. If he lost his phone, why would he tell him to call him? That doesn't really make sense. But this match, I would say it was, out of all the matches, I think it was the weakest, and that's saying something because all the matches were so great. This was only the weakest just because there was a couple of sloppy spots. There was a point where like EC3 Irish whipped Dream into the corner, and like Dream was supposed to be laid out over the top rope, and he kind of just like climbed up. He didn't look like he got thrown up. It looked like he ran to the corner and climbed up as if he was trying to get into a bunk bed. So I think that might have been the only like real botch that I noticed. I didn't really notice anything else other than that. So we're in the match. EC3 and Velveteen Dream are fighting on the outside, and Velveteen Dream hits that Sister Abigail like DDT out on the foot of the ramp where the steel plating is. Or the diamond plating is, which really looked like it hurt. Apparently there was an image after the match where EC3 had his like eye busted, kind of like how Ciampa did after his first match with Gargano at WrestleMania weekend. But yeah, this stuff was great. On the outside, Velveteen Dream grabbed a water bottle and threw it in EC3's face, threw the water in his face. I thought that was good payback for when EC3 threw Dream into a pool. And then we had an EC3 comeback. We had the original 1%er, that headlock driver, but EC3 wasn't able to put him away. EC3 does a crossbody, a couple power bombs. There was a superplex. There was a TKO attempt on the apron, but then Dream hit him with a super kick and a Dream Valley driver. Dream tried to hit another one, but EC3 hits a German suplex, and the end of the match comes here. They're both on the apron. EC3 is once again trying to put him away, but Dream gets him up and hits the rolling Death Valley driver on the apron closest to the hard cam, if you're picturing this. And then he goes up onto the top rope and hits a Purple Rainmaker elbow while EC3's on the apron, a spot that apparently Jeff Hardy was a big fan of because he tried to replicate it at SummerSlam to no avail with the Swanton Bomb. But EC3 gets hit with the Purple Rainmaker elbow on the apron. Dream rolls him back into the ring and gets the 3 count. Velveteen Dream wins. Another prediction I got correct. And yeah, this is great. I don't think it hurts EC3 that much. He can still bounce back from this. If anything, I think it would give him a better character development from this, but we'll see. And Velveteen Dream, like a lot of people are saying, he deserved a win here. He hasn't really won that much, so I think he definitely needed a win. I think the only time he's really won at a TakeOver event was when he beat Cassius Ohno, and that was a really impromptu match. I think it was only made like the day before, so oh well. But yeah, it was great, and the greatness continues because we have a new signee appearing in the crowd, this being Matt Riddle. I haven't really watched a lot of Matt Riddle matches. I did watch one recently. It was an intergender match between Matt Riddle and Mia Yim, because I'm a big fan of Mia Yim. But watching him, he delivers some hard strikes, some crazy stuff. I'm excited to see what he does in NXT. Apparently there could be a lot of great matches. Matt Riddle versus Ricochet, Matt Riddle versus Keith Lee, people are throwing around. Personally, I want to see Keith Lee versus Lars Sullivan. Before Lars Sullivan gets called up to the main roster and becomes main rostered, because I think that might happen. I want to see Lars Sullivan versus Keith Lee. I don't know why. I just feel like that'll be a great match. But yeah, Matt Riddle shows up in the crowd. He's wearing a cap, flat cap, I guess you would call it. He's wearing a suit, and apparently there was a picture of him wearing sandals, so that's great, because he's the king of bros. That's his gimmick, the king of bros. So that was great. He was in the crowd getting ready to watch an incredible match between Adam Cole and Ricochet for the NXT North American Championship. This was great. I had expectations of it being great, and once again my prediction was correct because Ricochet won the match. This was great stuff. Ricochet came out. He was wearing an awesome all-white trunks attire. He still had the wings on his back. Adam Cole came out. He was wearing some fresh new attire. We had friggin' crazy stuff going back and forth. Adam Cole telling Ricochet, "You're not special." Ricochet has this big comeback moment. He's doing a moonsault dive to the outside. He hits like a 619. He hits a springboard uppercut, and then he goes for a handspring off the ropes, kind of like how Jay Lethal does the lethal injection. He goes for a handspring, comes back to try and hit him with the elbow. Adam Cole jumps up and hits him with a backstabber, and it was amazing, and the amazingness continues. So later on in the match, Ricochet's on the apron. He springboards off, and Adam Cole tries to hit him with a springboard super kick like you do in like 2K18, but Ricochet catches the foot and he like throws it down. He hits a forearm on Adam Cole. He runs, he just like a lion salt off the ropes, and then Adam Cole, bam, knocks him with a super kick in the jaw during the freaking moonsault, and it was great, and the crowd's going crazy. They think it's the end of the match, so Adam Cole lifts him up. He hits him with the suplex kneecap brainbuster, but it's only a 2 count. And then we got some more back and forth strong strikes, and friggin' Adam Cole, he's in the corner. Ricochet's in position. Adam Cole tries to go for the Shining Wizard. Ricochet ducks and hits a reverse Kanrana. Ricochet goes up to the top rope to try and hit the 630, but Adam Cole rolls all the way to the other side of the ring, and Ricochet thinks, well, I think I know what to do here. So he gets off the top rope and he runs across the ring, jumps over the top rope, grabs Adam Cole by the neck, and Hurricane Ranas him off the apron down to the floor, kind of like how Grand Metalik did in the Cruiserweight Classic to TJ Perkins. You can go back and watch that if you want to. But yeah, it was great. So Ricochet rolls him back into the ring. He hits the 630, gets the pin, and Ricochet is the new NXT North American Champion. And like I said, this does not hurt Adam Cole at all, because he can bounce back from this. We'll still have a rematch, which I'm sure will also be great. Ricochet can now take this championship and make it so much better. He has that pose where he like holds his hand up in the air. He can now do that with the NXT North American title. I see many great matches coming from this. Maybe we can have Ricochet versus Cassius Ohno, because they want to do something with Cassius Ohno, it seems like. And it seems like he's being more of a heel. If Cassius Ohno really wants to be this big heel, he's going to have a match for a championship. I think Cassius Ohno versus Ricochet would be a great match. And speaking of great matches, we have another one here. This one is for the NXT Women's Championship. This is Shayna Baszler versus Kairi Sane, the rubber match of this series. They had the Mae Young Classic Finals where Kairi won. Then they had a random match on NXT television where Shayna Baszler won. This was the rubber match for the NXT Women's Championship. And in the early goings here, we have Shayna Baszler freaking doing like some joint manipulation here. And it's sort of like how they did it with Dakota Kai, how they made her like pretend snap her arm or shoulder out of place, but they did it with her foot, so she's like bending her freaking foot all out of place, and like she takes her foot and she places her foot like facing straight up, like the toes are on the mat, and so Shayna Baszler just stomps on her heel, and it basically like bends her friggin' toes, and it looked painful. I kind of winced there for a little bit. And then Kairi Sane, she's in the corner, stood up in the corner, and Shayna Baszler mocks her doing her little pirate march thing. But Kairi Sane, she gets a comeback moment, and they're doing these strikes, yay, boo. Shayna Baszler hits a V-trigger knee. Kairi Sane comes back and hits a big spear. She hits an elbow drop from the middle rope. She goes to the top rope to try and hit the insane elbow, but Shayna Baszler rolls out, so Kairi Sane hits her with a big cross body to the outside, rolls her back into the ring, climbs to the top rope, hits the insane elbow. 1, 2, and only gets 2. Shayna Baszler kicks out. So Kairi Sane, she tries to lock in the anchor, her new submission hold, but it gets reversed into a choke hold, and Kairi Sane's getting choked out, but she reaches the ropes at the last second. It's a lot of great stuff. Shayna Baszler then goes after the targeted leg and gets in a heel hook, but Kairi Sane reverses that into the anchor, but Shayna Baszler makes it to the bottom rope, and then Kairi Sane applies the anchor again, but it's through the ropes while Shayna Baszler is on the apron, so obviously you got the 5 count to work with. And then Kairi Sane drags her back in, hits an Alabama slam, which I wish they kind of would have played that up a little bit more. Since Kairi's hitting an Alabama slam and she has a hurt leg, I just wish they would have kind of shown that a little bit more. Maybe they did and I just didn't notice it, but first time viewing it, I didn't think that she was playing it off enough. But she goes up to the top rope again to hit another insane elbow, and she goes for it, but Shayna gets her knees up, so she basically elbows her knees, which if you've ever bumped into anything and hurt your funny bone or something like that, it really hurts. So an elbow drop into somebody's knees at the speed Kairi was falling at would definitely hurt. But Baszler, this is the end of the match. Shayna Baszler gets her in the chokehold again, but then Kairi Sane rolls her up by like flipping into like a roll-up pin, kind of like how Finn Balor did to Samoa Joe at TakeOver London. And Kairi Sane gets the roll-up pin, and we have a new NXT Women's Champion. Another prediction correct. I don't think this hurts Shayna Baszler at all. She even did a fallout video with the rest of the 4 horsewomen where she said, Kairi Sane didn't beat me, I lost. Kairi Sane is not the better fighter. So yeah, and obviously we'll have the rematch. I don't know if it'll take place at Evolution or if it'll take place on regular NXT TV. But either way, I think this was a great match, great outcome. There was a funny line from Ronda Rousey in the crowd. She was trying to be a bad person supporting Shayna Baszler here, and she's yelling at Kairi Sane. She's like, that wheel don't do nothing. You ain't no real pirate. But yet they had a friggin' like red carpet thing for the Mae Young Classic 2, and they were talking to her about Kairi Sane, and then Ronda Rousey says like, oh yeah, I'm a big fan of Kairi Sane. So that was kind of funny knowing that. And all that leads us to the main event, Johnny Gargano versus Tommaso Ciampa. This obviously was supposed to be a triple threat match featuring Aleister Black, but due to Aleister Black's injury that he suffered, they had to write him off. So they gave us Gargano versus Ciampa again, this time in a last man standing match. The match we were supposed to get Money in the Bank weekend, but they had to change it to that street fight, which was also great. I also thought this was great. If I had to rank all the Gargano-Ciampa matches, I would put this one... let's see. Cruiserweight Classic match goes at the bottom just because it wasn't really that long. I would say this is the top one. I would say this is the top. It goes... Their one from TakeOver WrestleMania weekend, and then it goes Chicago 2, and then it goes this. I think each time they have brought this up more and more, and it has to do with the storytelling. And there was a lot of great storytelling here, even from Gargano's entrance attire, which, if you watched my predictions video, I predicted that Johnny Gargano would come out dressed as some sort of Spider-Man attire, black Spider-Man attire, I said specifically, because I thought that he would depict a hero that has been taken over by evil. So he had a attire that was half Spider-Man and half Venom, and I thought it was great. I thought it was awesome. Ciampa came out in some new attire too, and the match began when Gargano attacked Ciampa during the ring introductions, and so they're fighting all over. Gargano takes up the padding. There were so many great moments in this match. So he takes up the floor padding, and Ciampa rakes his eyes, and there's an air raid crash through the announcer's table, and friggin' Gargano and Ciampa are fighting with a chair. Gargano at one point lawn darts Ciampa into a steel chair, and then Gargano sets up 2 tables on the outside, one regular ways and then one flipped upside down, so all the legs are like pointing up, and this is already on top of that exposed floor. But then Ciampa takes control, and Ciampa hits Gargano with 3 powerbomb lung blowers, but Ciampa is sitting in a chair. Gargano stands up and then super kicks Ciampa out of the chair. We've got yay boo strikes. Gargano tries to go for the slingshot spear, but Ciampa hits him with a knee. There's counters after counters after counters, and there's this huge sequence where they're hitting each other with these crazy strikes, and they both go down, and then they both stand back up at one, and the commentary's just going crazy for this. And then they're fighting on the outside, and Ciampa hits Gargano with that butterfly, like, pile driver, almost like a pedigree, lifting up into a pedigree. He hits that onto the stairs, and then Ciampa takes the ring padding off, exposing the wood. Gargano sprays him with a fire extinguisher. There was just so much greatness in this match. Gargano grabs a crutch and starts smacking Ciampa with the crutch. Ciampa at one point tried to hit the DDT onto the hardwood floor, but Gargano fights it off, and Gargano has Ciampa on the apron facing the two table setup, and Gargano does the wave goodbye, and then he super kicks Ciampa, and he falls through the tables, and oh man, it was just great. And then Ciampa stands back up, and he's friggin' fighting Ciampa again by the announce table. Ciampa moves out of the way, so Gargano super kicks a freaking doctor or something on accident, and it looked great. Probably painful for the doctor though. But it just looked great, and so Ciampa like hits a running knee and smashes Gargano through the barricade, and he piles everything on top of Gargano, and it gave me this strange vibe of Spider-Man, because there's a version of the Spider-Man comic where like Spider-Man gets trapped underneath all this rubble, and then he has to push it all off of him to get out, and Gargano did, and then they're fighting again, and Gargano's fighting them and stuff, and then at one point Ciampa gets up, he stands up using the crutch, and then he starts walking up the rampway away from Gargano, and Gargano chases after him and kicks the crutch out of the way of Ciampa's hand. He grabs Ciampa by the face and tosses him into the LED board, and at some point in the match, Ciampa grabbed handcuffs and was trying to use them on Gargano. Gargano handcuffed Ciampa's wrist, and then he handcuffs Ciampa to the stage. There's a little part of the stage, and he starts attacking Ciampa and slamming his head into the friggin' LED board, and Ciampa's saying, I'm sorry, Johnny," and Gargano's like, "It's too late for sorries," and he starts super kicking him over and over and over again, and then he starts doing the DIY taunt and trying to super kick Ciampa with that, but then he thinks about it and he's like, no, we're doing this the right way, and he takes down his knee brace, or his knee pad, and knees Ciampa in the face, but as he knees Ciampa in the face, he runs off the stage, and he flies over some equipment boxes, kneeing a metal equipment box in the process, and then there's this tense moment where you think we're going to get a double count, but then at the count of 9, Ciampa rolls off the bit of the stage that he was, and the stage part that he's handcuffed to is also holding him up, so Ciampa wins. He is the last man standing, and Gargano nearly got up, but apparently commentary put over the fact that apparently Gargano dislocated his knee in the process of kneeing that metal box in the process, and he fell off some stuff. If you can find the clip of the spill, it looked pretty good. So the match ends, and the crowd is just silent, much like they were for Chicago too. And I thought this was a great ending. I don't know if they're going to do another one of these, but if they do, oh man, there's going to be a lot of story to go around in that. And after the match, Gargano's trying to get back up to his feet. He's telling the trainers he doesn't want a doctor, he doesn't want a stretcher, he doesn't want to go out on a stretcher. And the show ends with the copyright logo. Johnny's sitting on the ramp. It's actually the thumbnail for this video. You're actually seeing it right now. And the show ends with Gargano sitting on the ramp, so sad and angry that his anger got the best of him, and behind him you just see Ciampa standing behind him with the NXT Championship. I thought it was a great way to go off the show. This was a great show, so much better than SummerSlam, and I do think it plays into the fact that there was only 5 matches compared to SummerSlam's 13 matches and like 20-hour runtime, whereas this was, I think it was 3 hours. But all in all, a great show. I loved it. Main event delivered, as did all of the Ciampa Gargano matches. At the end of the year, I have this ratings list of the top 10 TakeOver matches of 2018, much like I did for 2017. If you guys want to watch that, I'll put it in a card up in the corner along with the poll. But yeah, this was great. I loved it. I don't see NXT getting boring anytime soon. They always have the influx of talent. Matt Riddle's coming. We got Keith Lee. Aleister Black's going to be back soon. Velveteen Dream has won a match. Gargano Ciampa put on another great match. We have a new NXT Women's Champion. Ricochet is the new North American Champion. Everything is awesome in the land of NXT. Monday Night Raw and SmackDown Live, we'll see. We'll see. Raw is going to be starting soon. It's about to be 6 o'clock. But that has been it for this review. Talking Takeover for NXT Takeover Brooklyn 4. It seems as though our next review show will be NXT Takeover War Games 2. So I guess I will see you guys for that. Where NXT goes from here, I don't know. It'll be very interesting to see. The women's division is looking pretty good with the Mae Young Classic coming in. Whoever's going to win the Mae Young Classic, I know is going to be a big star there. People are saying it may be Toni Storm or Io Shirai. This is going to be an exciting time for NXT. I know summer is about to be over. We're about to be getting into fall, but in terms of pro wrestling, things are just heating up, just starting to heat up. So if you guys enjoy the review show, please leave me a thumbs up and a comment. What was your favorite match of SummerSlam weekend? Not just of NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 4, SummerSlam weekend. What did you guys think was the best match? Leave me your thoughts in the comments of this video. You can follow me on social media using the links in the video description. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram. My Instagram is WrestleDudeYT, or the WrestleDudeYT if you want to be specific. You can check me out there. You can check me out on Twitter at the WrestleDude. I have been Jacob from the WrestleDude channel doing your NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 4 review. I will see you for the review for TakeOver War Games. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed, and good night. Or good evening, or good day, whichever time you're watching this at. I don't know. I'm bad with outros. I'll see you guys later.